Hello, it is Throwback Thursday, August 1st, 2024. Steve Sipress here on a gorgeous, spectacular summer day here in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area of Arizona. Hope it's fantastic wherever you are as well. And today we're throwing it back only a few years to the end of the year 2020. Less than 4 years ago when the current recession officially began. Well, of course, they changed the definition of recession as it had been forever. So I guess technically it didn't officially begin, but to everyone who's not fooled by the mumbo jumbo of the government, especially when it comes to making up excuses and reasons and changing the rules for their shortcomings, that's when the current recession began, with so far still no end in sight. And that is the last time that the most successful restaurant in the history of restaurants, McDonald's Corporation, had a decline in revenue. And now they just reported, again, another decline in revenue. So things were different back then. There were all the shutdowns and the supply chain nonsense and the BS about standing 6 feet apart and wearing a diaper on your face and injecting yourself with a concoction of crap and all the BS around all that stuff. Sales were down at McDonald's. So what did they do? Well, they didn't just sit there. Number one, the first thing they did is they just raised prices. They just raised prices out of control. They raised prices more than any other fast food chain. And that way, they weren't able to keep up with inflation and with the bad economy on, comparative dollars, but just by bringing in more dollars for the same thing, they were able to survive. However, people kind of got tired of that. And recently there was a lot of backlash and people finally got sick of McDonald's, and pretty much all of fast food sales are not doing very well. And people were complaining that McDonald's there was one restaurant reported in Connecticut, I think it was, that charged $18 for a value meal or a Big Mac meal or whatever they call it. I haven't personally been into a McDonald's in decades, but things were looking rough for McDonald's. So what did they do? Well, the same thing you ought to do is they got to work. They didn't just sit there and said, well, let's wait till this thing blows over, or times are tough, you understand, or start, cutting their advertising and marketing. No, the opposite. Okay, they heeded the advice, as if they need it, from one of the greatest business minds of all time, Peter Drucker. I talk about his quote often, where he said, business is marketing and innovation. All else is cost. In other words, to grow your business, to maintain it, to pretty much stay in business, you got to focus on marketing and innovation. You never cut those. Everything else is cost. You can cut everything else, but never cut your marketing and never stop innovating. And the newest thing that McDonald's has been innovating is they've been testing their biggest burger ever, which is about to come out, they say, in the U.S. in selected markets, called the Big Arch, which is basically a double quarter pounder with a bunch of other stuff on it. So their biggest burger ever. And they also, more importantly, they introduced went back to, as a throwback, to the old $5 value meal. And that has really caught on, and they say their research shows that especially with the poorest people, who are the most affected by the crappy economy and inflation and all that kind of stuff, of course. So the people that are most brainwashed to support the established government that's been running their cities for decades and decades and sometimes a century, and keeps treating them like crap, and they're worse off than anybody else, and that they're so brainwashed that they continue to support that entrenched power. I know, I've lived it. I grew up in New York. I lived there for about 18 years, lived in Boston, in and around Boston for about 17 years, in and around Chicago for 15 years. These are really horribly run, really badly economic focused cities for the most part. And people just keep voting into power the same regime decade after decade after decade, which craps all over them. So McDonald's introduced this $5 meal that helped a little bit. Their sales are still down, so they are going to continue that $5 meal that they said they'd be phasing out by now, with no end in sight to continue that. They're adding new menu items. This Big Arch, by the way, not only is a double quarter pounder, but supposedly also has a slightly different sauce than the McDonald's Big Mac's famous special sauce. And they're experimenting with a whole bunch of other stuff. And they say that, of course, as always, other fast food chains are following McDonald's lead, and they're going back to their $5 menus and value meals and deals and all that kind of stuff, reminiscent of the quote from the great Ray Kroc, the founder of the McDonald's Corporation, the current chain. You know, he bought it out from the McDonald's brothers, if you know the story, but he was the driving force behind the McDonald's Corporation, and he was asked, everything you do, you're really great at innovation, but everything you innovate, all the other fast food chains just copy. I mean, how do you feel like that? And supposedly the quote from Ray Kroc, I'm paraphrasing, is something like, we can innovate faster than they can copy. And so there it is. That's the lesson today on Throwback Thursday, is you want to follow the lead of Ray Kroc, of Peter Drucker, of two of the greatest minds in the history of business, who understand that business is all about marketing and innovation. Marketing and innovation. That's how you stay in business. That's how you survive through a disastrously tough economy like we've been going through for years with no end in sight. That's how you respond whenever times are tough. That's how you grow a business, how you stay in business. Marketing and innovation. You can cut any other things you want. Those are all costs of doing business. The only drivers of success in business are marketing and innovation. So follow the lead of the most successful business leaders. And I will say I'm not at all in the ballpark of Ray Kroc or Peter Drucker, but keep following me as well. That'll do it for today. I'll be back with you again tomorrow on Foundation Friday. If you want some help growing your business, I've grown my own business and my clients' businesses and all kinds of businesses I've helped over the decades, in good times and bad times. There are certain strategies that you implement during a tough economy like this that are working like gangbusters. That's another reason you know it's a bad economy. I've helped my clients put in the bad economy strategies into place a few years ago, and they're working like gangbusters. They don't work during a booming economy. Those are different strategies. So you can hit me up, Steve at SteveCypress.com, private message, comment, wherever you're reading this, watching it, listening to it. Go to my website, dwowstrategy.com. I'm about to launch an entire new campaign at that website, by the way. Should be out by next week, where I've been helping a lot of business owners use AI to build their own custom marketing machine so they can get better results than they're ever getting before, with a heck of a lot less time, energy, and money expanded. So hit me up if you want to hear about that or anything else to do with the growing of your business, or during this crappy economy, just staying in business. That'll do it for today. Thanks for being here on August 1st, 2024. I'll catch you tomorrow on today's Throwback Thursday. Tomorrow is Foundation Friday. Over and out.